Hi guys! I first of all, I'm very excited to film this video. It feels so good to be back on my YouTube channel. I haven't posted as much the last couple months, but you will soon find out why. And you probably know from the title of this video that I recently found out that I'm expecting baby number 3. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So much to share. I also posted there's another video talking about the pregnancy and stuff on my band channel, Cimorelli, as you can see on my sweatshirt. But I thought I always feel like on the main channel, I need to be like more succinct. Where on my channel, I feel like I can kind of ramble a little bit more and just kind of like go into detail. So I thought I would make a video for my channel as well, so I could just be a little bit more detailed and kind of share some things that people have kind of been asking me, and just sort of a little bit about like the story of how everything happened and how I found out. Yeah, if you have any videos you want me to make or things you want me to talk about, please write a comment below and let me know. I always love getting your suggestions on videos I should put on my channel, and I love hearing from you guys. Also, if any of you guys are pregnant as well, let me know your due date in a comment. So, baby number 3. So if you are new, I have my twins, Dominic and Leo, boys. They're identical. And I had them in September of 2021. So I feel like one of the biggest questions I'm kind of getting from people is some form of, was this a surprise? Was it planned, etc. I feel like that's something that people always want to know. Like if you have kids, you know, how do you decide if you're having more, or like how close together and that type of thing. So I will just be very honest, because I don't really think, I don't know, I don't have anything against sharing my honest journey and, you know, how I kind of got, how we got here and sort of decided this. So, you guys know I'm Catholic. So, I follow NFP, which is Natural Family Planning. And I feel like I got a lot of questions about that when I mentioned that recently on my Instagram. So if you want me to do a video about NFP, I'd be happy to go into that and my experience with it as well. But yeah, so I follow Natural Family Planning, which is basically like tracking your cycles and kind of knowing when your fertile window is and all that stuff. So, and if you're curious, if you're also using Natural Family Planning, I use well, my alarm just went off in the middle of filming this video, so I'm gonna have to edit these together. But anyway, so I use the Marquette method. And I started with the symptothermal method. We actually did like a whole class taught by a physician and his wife about the symptothermal method, which was really great to learn. But after I had the twins, I started to realize like postpartum was so confusing, and trying to follow my body's signs, because symptothermal mainly goes by your basal body temperature in combination with your cervical mucus. You can also check your cervix. I didn't really ever understand how to do that. But anyway, so I just felt like those two things were very hard to do postpartum. And a lot of people I've found actually switched to doing the Marquette method postpartum. And if you don't know, the Marquette method is you basically just get like a clear blue monitor and you do these LH, or not LH, but it tests, it's like urine tests that test for different levels of hormones in your body to see when you're about to ovulate. So it's kind of nice because I've heard of a lot of people who have gotten surprise pregnancies because a lot of times your body ovulates before you even get your period back. Some people don't know that. They think like, oh, I haven't gotten my period back yet postpartum, so I must not be fertile. But surprise, you can be fertile. I've actually heard of people that have had 2 kids and never even had a period in between because they ovulated before they ever even got their period and they got pregnant. Anyway, very, you know, into the details of all that stuff. But anyway, so we've been using Marquette method postpartum, and I first got my period back at about 9 months. I was still breastfeeding. I breastfed the twins till they were about 11 months old, and I got my period back at 9 months old. And if you don't know about that, like people who breastfeed get their cycles at all different times. It's not really a sure thing that breastfeeding is going to keep your cycle from coming back. It's really, as I've kind of talked to friends and stuff, like everyone's just really different with when that happens. So I got mine back 9 months postpartum, which was last June. And I definitely, just being really honest, I was like, I don't feel ready to have another baby. I have 2 9-month-olds. They're not sleeping very well. It's so demanding with their feeding schedule and everything. I just was like, I don't feel ready for this. And Max and I kind of talked about it. We prayed about it, and we just both kind of felt like my body needed a little more time and we needed a little more time to just not go into the new baby arena yet. So that was just our, personal decision through prayer. But then kind of at the very end of the year into like the beginning of this year, like December, January, we started to feel a lot more peace about being open to a new baby. Which thinking back, I'm like, it's kind of crazy because the twins just turned 1 in September and of like last year. So then that was like, they were only like 2 months past that. So anyway, but I just kind of felt peace about it. So we were open to it, and we basically, I was still tracking my cycles, but we weren't actively like avoiding pregnancy starting then. And I will say that I don't think my body was ready to get pregnant, which I will kind of share a little bit about. So this is kind of me going more into the detail in case, hopefully, if you're curious, hopefully this doesn't sound too rambly. But at the beginning of the year, I had a really, really rough 3 to 4 months. So my sons got really sick, like a bunch of different sicknesses all in a row, and like really intense sicknesses. So like one of my sons had croup. We had to go to the ER for him to get like a breathing treatment. One of my sons had, well, they both ended up having this, but it was like a couple months apart, roseola, where you like spike a really high fever and you like break out in a rash. They just had like really bad viruses, and it was a very intense beginning of the year. And my body was under a lot of stress. I actually ended up in the ER, which I haven't been to the ER ever, I think. Maybe when I broke my arm when I was 12. I don't remember ever going to the ER. And I was in the ER in March for a severe case of adenovirus. My primary care was concerned that it might be something more serious. So I went into the ER and got like a ton of testing. And it turns out I just had a really severe case of adenovirus. But I felt horribly sick, sicker than I ever have. And I had mono. I think I felt sicker than when I had mono. And it lasted for about 10 days. So that was horrible. And I think that really threw my body in like out of whack. I've heard people say like that viruses can affect your cycle, and I totally agree with that, because after that virus, my cycle was really wonky for several months. So I think the combination, and also I broke my toe at the beginning of the year. So I broke my big toe and I was wearing a boot because just the way that it broke. So it was like I was trying to care for my toddlers while wearing a boot. They were getting sick a ton, really, really sick. One of my sons had to have like a hernia surgery. I was in the ER. It was just like an insane start to the year. And I think my body was under a lot of stress, and my cycles were just not normal and regular. And I was honestly not at that point like, ooh, I am so ready to get pregnant right now. Like, I think I was like, if it happens, it's meant to be, and it happens, and that's okay. But I wasn't like, oh, please, every month I'm hoping for a positive. I think I was just kind of trying to survive. So anyway, didn't get pregnant and really did not feel concerned about it. I was just kind of like, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. And I think it ended up being 8 or 9 months of being open and having cycles and just getting negative pregnancy tests. And I just kind of felt really detached. And I always have this mindset of like, children are a gift, and I am like, it's a privilege that I have 2 sons. And I know that infertility is a thing, and I want to be really like sensitive of the fact that it's not just a given for everyone, or it's a very long journey. So I try to keep that in mind as we're open to having more kids, that I'm not entitled to more kids. If it's God's will, it'll happen. But I'm so blessed to have 2 sons. They have each other. I am so thankful about that. Would we love to have more kids? Yes. But I know that it's not like, guaranteed. So I'm open, but I'm like, I literally, like the night before I found out I was pregnant, I was on a walk with my friend. We were talking about, pregnancy and family and stuff. And I was like, honestly, I am kind of at a point where if it doesn't happen for a while, I think I'm good with that. The twins are sleeping well, so I feel like I'm finally catching up on sleep. We're in a really good routine. I'm really enjoying this toddler stage. At that point, they were like almost 2. And I just was like, yeah, I feel kind of peaceful about it. Like, if it happens, it happens. But I also, if it doesn't happen for another year or, longer, maybe it doesn't happen at all, like, I just felt kind of detached from the outcome. And then, of course, the next morning, again, this is after like 8 or 9 months of negative, pregnancy tests. So I took a test while my husband was at work because I really just was not expecting to have a positive because I'd gotten a lot of negatives. So I was like, oh, I'll just do it. It's like, I kind of knew when to do it because I tracked my cycle. So I did it and it was positive. And I was like, wait, what? I think I just kind of sat there in shock for a second. Like, that's not been happening. I just didn't expect that to happen. So I called my husband at work and I was like freaking out, so excited. And he was really excited too. He's been wanting to have another baby and hoping for one as well. So yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was really exciting. I was really nervous though, because I think I found out when I was close to 4 weeks. Right at 5.5 weeks with my twins is when I started throwing up almost every day. Not every day. I know some people throw up like all day, every day, and I can't even, my heart goes out to those that do, because I don't know how you guys do it. Like, you are truly warriors. But morning sickness is just not fun. And I felt like my experience with the twins was basically from 5.5 to 16 weeks, I had, I would say like fairly intense morning sickness in terms of just, I felt nauseous and really uncomfortable in my body pretty much morning to night. Threw up frequently, had very strong food aversions, like where I could only eat like a couple of food groups and it was very minimal. Wow, my alarm just went off again. It was very minimal what I could eat. So I feel like with the twin pregnancy, it was a lot. And it just, so I was kind of counting down the days. Like with this pregnancy, I was like, because I also didn't know if it was twins or not. So I was like, okay, 5.5 weeks, here we go. Like, when this date comes, I could like basically stop being able to eat much again. So I was kind of like eating and enjoying my food and like, okay, I'm gonna enjoy this food while I can, because I don't know how much longer this is gonna last. And then I get to 6 weeks, I'm still eating pretty normally. I get to 7 weeks, still eating normally. 8 weeks, that's when the morning sickness hit me this time. So I did throw up a few times. Random story, this was kind of like my lowest point with morning sickness this time around. I was swimming laps. So I like to swim laps a lot during pregnancy. That is like my favorite form of exercise other than just like walks with the twins in the stroller. So swimming laps, and I don't know what it was, the motion, I think I was doing breaststroke. The motion of the stroke, I started to feel really nauseous and sick, and I started gagging, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot throw up in the pool. Then they're gonna have to evacuate everyone out of the pool and clean it, and I was freaking out, but I knew that I was about to throw up. So I threw up in my mouth and I held it closed, and I ran to the bathroom and then let it out in the bathroom. But I just was like determined not to throw up in the actual pool. But yeah, that was kind of a low point. Yeah, and it's kind of been a little shaky ever since going back to the pool, because I'm always like triggered, like I don't want to throw up again. But anyway, so that was kind of my lowest point. But I will say, and this kind of leads into one of the biggest questions I've been getting, which is, are you having twins again? And the answer is no, I'm having one baby this time. We had our ultrasound. They confirmed that it's just one baby. I told this story in the other video, but it was kind of funny because we were kind of wondering, like, is it twins again? I was so much less sick though that I was like, there's no way this is twins. Because I think we went into 8 weeks for the ultrasound, so I wasn't even barely sick at that point. And then right before we got the ultrasound, then I told the ultrasound tech that we had twins. We were kind of wondering if it was twins again. And she said, oh, it's so funny. I just had someone come in who had 2-year-old twin boys, and they found out they were having twins again. And we were like, because our sons, I guess they were just about to turn 2 at that point. So anyway, yeah, so it's one baby. And that's kind of, sorry, I'm looking at my laptop because I kind of wrote down a few things I didn't want to forget. That's kind of leads into the next biggest question, which is like, what has been the biggest difference between like a singleton pregnancy, as they call it, and a twin pregnancy? And I know that everyone's different, so I don't want to say like, oh, I don't want to speak for every twin mom, because I've actually heard very different things from my friends that have twins. In my experience, I feel like this pregnancy is a walk in the park compared to what I went through with the twins. Like with the twins, I was so physically uncomfortable. I just remember like breaking down and crying to my husband, like, I don't want to be in my body anymore. Like, oh, like I said that multiple times. Like I just was so uncomfortable. Like I grew so quickly. I had so many different symptoms. Like the morning sickness lasted so much longer. I threw up so much more. Like it just felt like everything was magnified, which makes sense because you have double the hormones, you have double the blood, like your blood volume increases. Like there's things that double with twins that don't with a single baby. So it makes sense. But yeah, this has just been like, I feel almost guilty saying this because last time this wasn't the case, but like I've forgotten that I was pregnant a few times. And I'm like, that is weird because that did not happen last time. So for me, I would say the biggest difference is that it's so much easier this time around and I feel so much better, like sickness wise. So yeah, okay. Also, I wanted to say this, I didn't say this in my other video because I forgot. So another thing is like any weird pregnancy symptoms. I feel like most of my symptoms are very run of the mill. There is one symptom that I had last time. I don't know if I remember to talk about this in my like pregnancy, like twin pregnancy videos, but there's the symptom that I experienced that I had with the twins as well. And I know this has to be like hormonally based, but I will be usually like on Instagram Reels or something, and I will start hysterically laughing and thinking that the videos are like the funniest thing in the world, video after video. Like I am uncontrollably laughing and just kind of have this like delirious feeling of like really just like, like, I don't know, just kind of out of it. And I'll show them to Max and he's like, it's like funny, but not that funny. So I kind of think that that's definitely got to be a hormonal thing, that I just will get this like feeling of like delirious, like, I don't know, just like laughter. I don't know if anyone else, if you've experienced that, please comment because I've never heard of anyone talking about that. And I've now had that both pregnancies. So tell me if you've ever had that. Okay. Another thing people ask me a lot is, are there any guesses on the gender? So, oh, and they ask you, do you know the gender? So right now I am 15 weeks. Yeah, I just turned 15 yesterday. And I want to say that I'm notoriously really bad at guessing gender. Like other people's genders, I always guess wrong. I thought I had a boy and a girl for a longest time with the twins. And then I thought right before we had them, it's definitely 2 girls. And then we found out that it was 2 boys. I was like, I just don't, people are like, oh, it's like a mother's intuition. Well, apparently I don't have that. I will say that my mother's intuition, which I don't trust, is that it's a girl, but that's also, I'm just like, is it because I don't have a girl? Like, that's why I keep thinking it's a girl? I don't know. But I want to say that either way, I will be so grateful because again, I really view like every child is a blessing and we are so lucky to have another child. So if the twins have a little brother, great. If they have a little sister, great. I'm just like so excited to see them as big brothers. They're going to be so cute. And they're going to be exactly 2.5 because they turn 2.5 in March and this baby is due in March. And also I want to share 2 little random facts that I thought were kind of fun about this pregnancy. And honestly, and kind of going back to the beginning story of like how I found out, I really like have a lot of peace about this pregnancy, like that we've been open to it for most of the year. It didn't happen. And I just feel like it was meant to happen at the time it's happening. So 2 interesting things. One is that my due date is Holy Thursday, which if you're Catholic, you know, like it's Holy Week. It's the week before Easter. It's my favorite week of the year. And I just feel like it's just kind of interesting that out of all the weeks of the year, I'm due during the week that I love the most. Like I've always said Holy Week's my favorite. So I don't know. I thought that was really cool that I get to like go through that beautiful, prayerful, sacred week while being like basically due with the baby. So will I have the baby right before Easter or after? I don't know. We'll see. And the other thing that's kind of weird is that this baby is our 3rd baby due in March, and I'm the 3rd in my family, and my birthday's in March. I'm at the beginning of the month, but it's just kind of interesting that like, I don't know. I thought that was another little kind of funny God wink, as they say. Okay, and then cravings. That's another kind of fun one. I think I've kind of realized now that I'm 15 weeks that my number one craving, I don't even know that I mentioned this in the other video, and maybe this is kind of intensified since I filmed that one a few weeks ago, but is iced tea. Like I cannot get enough, which I'm being really careful because you're only supposed to have like a certain amount of caffeine in pregnancy. So I'm very careful to stay under that and try to get like decaf or like lower caffeinated teas. But yeah, I just want all the iced tea in the world. It's just so refreshing and just sounds amazing to me, like kind of bitter, you know? And yeah, I think I shared this before, but I craved peaches, lemon, like citrus, anything fruit. I feel like that's such a normal pregnancy thing. Also, I've been craving dairy and like cheese, specifically like a mad woman. It's like I cannot get enough cheese. Like I ordered for dinner the other night quesadilla with like a chicken quesadilla with cheese and chips. It's like, how much cheese do I need? I guess this baby just really wants calcium. So yeah, those are kind of my main cravings. And then I guess I'll end it on this note, which is kind of like, how do you feel about having 3 under 3, which is something people have asked me. So this baby, like I said, is due in March. My twins will be 2.5. So we are going to have 3 kids under 3, 2 toddlers and a newborn. And I don't think it really hit me when we were sort of just like, because we really did not think about the math of that when we were like open to getting pregnant. We were just kind of going with a feeling of peace and kind of like an answered prayer. Like that's kind of how it felt like God was leading us as we prayed about this. But then as I found out, I was like, it started to kind of settle in. I was like, I'm gonna have 3 children under the age of 3. That's a lot. And I almost feel like, I'll just be totally honest. Like I grew up in a family of 11 children. So really big family. And growing up, I think I was kind of cocky about smaller families. Like, oh, 2 kids is nothing. Like, you know, when I have 2 kids, which I'm like, that just sounds so dumb to me now. I'm like, Kath, you knew nothing. Like, just because you have a bunch of siblings doesn't mean you know what it's like to be a mother. I don't know why I thought that. But I think I just didn't realize how much work it is. The 24/7 grind of motherhood. Like, and I've never had one child, but I'm sure that it's just as hard with one child. But I'm going to say, like, having 2 children, especially 2 babies at the same time, was very difficult for me. Even as someone that loves kids, always wanted to be a mom, grew up in a big family, it was really difficult, really, really difficult. So I am really curious to know, and I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have 3 or more kids, like what was the transition like going from 2 to 3 kids? Because I am a little nervous about that. And that's something that I've been trying to look up people's videos or just ask friends, like, what was it like? You know, I don't know, maybe just trying to mentally prepare. I don't know that you can really mentally prepare for that. But yeah, I think I just am a little daunted by it. But at the same time, like I said, I really feel this sense of peace that this pregnancy is meant to be, that this is God's plan, like that we are ready for this, even if we don't feel quite ready, like logistically, I feel like in my heart and soul, I feel ready. And I don't know, it's just interesting. Like, I remember my mom wrote me this birthday card that kind of makes me emotional. She was like, you're such a joy to have in our family. I'm so glad that I didn't stop after 2 kids. And I was like, oh my gosh, like my mom, you know, kept going after 2 and she had me. And now this is gonna be our 3rd baby. And I don't know, that just kind of seems to be like kind of symbolic in a way. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm definitely nervous. And I think motherhood has humbled me hard. like I said, I think I was just kind of cocky before I became a mom. And then I was like, oh, 2 is hard. 2 is a lot. But I'm like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do it. And I kind of have realized too as a mom, it's all just one day at a time. One day at a time. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so happy to share, and I really want to share more on YouTube with you guys throughout this pregnancy. I really enjoyed doing that last time, and I want to share more this time. So please comment if there's anything you want to know or anything you want me to talk about or answer. I might do like a Q&A style too, because I feel like I might have forgot some stuff. But anyway, so happy to share this with you guys. Thank you for being on the journey with me. It really means so much. And I'm excited. Yeah, that was fun. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.